into a brand new wave, drowning out the noise that's tame. Liberty whispers through the brave, breaking free from every chain. Nullify the rules they crave, crypto beats that pave the way. Anarchy with minds that safe, algorithms new dawn today. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride. Beyond control we take a stand, casting off the iron brand. Freedom flowing through our hands, revolution's our command. Decentralize the way we plan, all together we expand. Breaking shackles for the clan, in this journey we're on pan. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride.
Oh, hi. How are you all doing today? I did get some coffee. We record this in the morning. You won't see me until the afternoon. See, I wanted to give you some transparency. You know, something that we really don't get with our government. Speaking of our government, is the bubble finally bursting? Are we about ready to climb up to a recession and drop down into a depression? Is the economy finally collapsing? Who knows? Who cares? I'm just here to just give you a little bit of my perspective. I am the legacy of Jennifer Int Kaiser. This is Legacy News, episode 40. We just keep cranking it, keep cranking it, keep cranking it. And let's jump in. Let's dive in. Welcome aboard to Mr. New Studio.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Sorry, I was just reading a classic in Austrian economics, The Inner Warriors. Give me.
Look at him. Look,
How you doing?
You know what? Let's go ahead and just get.
Oh God,
just
no,
get
no,
this.
not the Austrian cave. Anything with the Bat Cave? Okay, it's the Austrian cave. How you doing?
It's the Austrian cave. Look at that. What is this? Is that no treason right there?
It is
Nice. I wish I had that cover.
large
Actually,
selection of different things.
Mm.
It's a very nice selection.
But with that, we are back. Happy Monday. That is Andrew Joseph. Happy Monday to all of you. Let's rock out with a new week. And what better than to talk about Trump, his tariffs, and the implications that it might have on North America, not just the world, right here at home. With
I blame X
Canada
going down.
X did go down earlier this morning, I guess, when I didn't really pay much of attention. I was busy doing other things earlier this morning, so it really
I have a little bit of a problem. I have no impulse control.
Yeah.
817, baby.
So, but I guess X went down a few hours before we jumped on to record this. Hopefully X stays afloat, and I mean, hopefully by 5
We,
p.m. when this gets premiered, for all of our X viewers. If not, you can find The Legacy right on YouTube, and you can watch the latest in the Legacy news as it premieres on YouTube. Maybe that's better. Maybe, yeah. And not to say that YouTube is better, but uh, start gravitating towards YouTube, please. Subscribe, join the conversation in the comments below every time we release, because we want to hear your perspective. But definitely try to churn this out. Definitely try to get the message across, and try to expand the alternative media that we are. Because I mean, look at me, look at me. I'm the media now, and so is
oh
Andrew.
yeah, I thought I was a shovelware podcast hoster. Now,
You are, you are,
okay,
yeah,
I'll
you
go
are.
back to my book now.
So,
Just kidding.
so you are more than welcome to go back to your book. I have an article though from Reuters, courtesy of MSNB or MSNBC of MSN. Yeah, doesn't roll off the top of the tongue very well. You kind of want to add that BC for some reason. I don't know why. Um,
Before comedy,
uh, yeah, courtesy of Drudge Report. That's where we collect all of our news headlines, because Drudge Report is like the single, in my opinion, the single best news archive to where everything's all there. So, but let us
gotta get that RSP up and running.
into. I don't like that screen. Yeah, I like us on the. Yeah. Can you see that? Is that a post for ants?
I can see it just fine. I don't
Oh,
have it in.
oh, I just belched. Um, Hopefully that didn't get caught on the microphone. Anyways, this, like I said, this is off of MSN.com, a Reuters article, courtesy of Drudge Report. Recession risks rise for all three North American economies over U.S. tariff chaos. 4-minute read. Let's see if we can get it. Oh, look at that. The backdrop of the three flags with the
Yep.
American flag in the middle. I
We
wonder who.
lie, we cheat, we steal.
We lie, we cheat, we steal. That would be the Mexican flag, right?
Oh, Latino heat.
Latino heat. Yeah,
Yeah.
R.I.P. Eddie Gato. But the United States lies and cheats and steals. Um,
Canada's the worst
con-
offender.
Canada is just straight
They
retarded.
f-
Did you know that
they for
they
they,
have
f-
they
they
have their
forged
next prime
maple
minister?
they forged maple syrup and sell it as original. That's why
Those
they're the worst of the worst.
bastards. Those are bastards.
And
So,
then they said that they
anyways,
had
let's.
their own style of old style of bacon.
Yeah, Canadian bacon. It's just ham, Canada. It's just ham. Get over yourselves. All right, let's jump into the article. So I'm gonna read this like Andrew, okay? So I might butcher this just to butcher it, just to spite him. Rick can. Well,
Wait, are you up for retard of the year too?
I am the retard of the year. You have to beat me.
A challenge has
Anyways, can
been
I?
laid down.
Yeah. Can we get into the article, Robbie?
Okay.
I am the libertarian Tupac, by the way. Yeah, come after that title, Dave. Anyways, risks to the Mexican, Canadian, and American economies are piling up amid a chaotic implementation of U.S. tariffs that has created deep uncertainties for businesses and decision makers, according to Reuters polls of economists taken this week. Look at that. A truck crossing the Canadian border. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, crossing the Canadian border. U.S. inflation risks, which were already rising, have worsened, leaving the Federal Reserve on the sidelines for several months at least, while for Mexico, Canada, and the U.S., recession risks are also mounting, the surveys found. U.S. President Donald Trump's administration has threatened 25% tariffs on import of goods from its two neighboring trading partners, and on Thursday removed them temporarily for a second time in only about 6 weeks of government. This has made it nearly impossible to forecast growth, inflation, and interest rates well into the future, economists say, even leaving the immediate Bank of England rate decision on March 12th, already likely to be nuanced, too difficult to call for some.
This is Bank of Canada.
The Bank of Canada. Seesaw tariff announcements have also unnerved Wall Street. The U.S. benchmark S&P 500 index has given up all of its gains since Trump's November election. Economists at top banks and research institutions who are regular participants in Reuters surveys spoke of chaos when reached for forecasts, many expressing exasperation over Trump's on-again, off-again approach to trade policy. Given this is so uncertain and that there are new announcements every hour or so, it's kind of unclear what the environment is going to look like. It's hard to deny the risk of a recession. It's hard to deny the risk of a recession has intensified, said Jonathan Millar, senior U.S. economist at Barclays in New York. People are pushing off this. Actually, I'm going to sound like what I think Jonathan Millar might sound like. People are pushing off spending, and that feeds through to a drag on growth, or perhaps even declines in growth if it's strong enough. There's a risk both in terms of higher inflation and downside of activity. Until now, economists have been loath to entirely factor into their forecast to the Trump administration. I don't know if this is my reading or if Reuters just sucks. Forecast the Trump's administration's face on global trade policy and the added uncertainty over how the change is being implemented is making forecasting even more difficult. Some are even running dual scenarios, one with tariffs and one without, but without much conviction about which is most likely. However, nearly every economist, 70 of 74, polled this week across Canada, the US, and Mexico, who answered a separate question, said the risk of a recession in their respective economy had increased, suggesting the outlook had soured considerably across the continent. The International Monetary Fund said on Thursday U.S. tariffs, if sustained, would have a significant adverse impact on Mexico and Canada. Even if these tariffs are rolled back, there is real tangible impact already. It just doesn't look like a lot of this volatility will go away anytime soon. And this is obviously not healthy for sentiment, said Claire Fan, senior economist at RBC in Toronto. For now, economists expect the Bank of England, Freudian slip. For now, economists expect the Bank of Canada to cut its overnight rate by 25 basis points on March 12th. There are a lot of things that are currently on pause as we all are trying to figure out what's really going to happen, which is really why we're more reluctant to say anything definitive right now, said Fan. Citing widespread uncertainties, nearly 70% of economists have raised their 2025 inflation outlook for the world's largest economy in the latest survey from last month. And nearly 85% of respondents to a separate question, 42 of 50, said the risk to near-term inflation in the U.S. has shifted towards higher prices. Just over half, 56 of 100, by the way, that's price inflation, by the way. Just over half, 56 of 102 economists expect the Fed funds rates rate to stay at 4.25% to 4.5% by mid 2025. The rest, 46, expected at least one cut by next quarter, down from more than two-thirds who predicted that in a February survey. Although poll medians predict what the fuck this just happened? Although poll medians predict the Fed will lower rates twice this year, reaching 3.75% to 4% by end 2025, a near 45% minority, 45 of 101, see one reduction or none. For Mexico, the future looks murky despite the latest tariff reprieve. The ongoing economic slowdown, as well as the uncertainty that persists for investors as long as Donald Trump remains in office, will continue to weigh on growth in Mexico, noted on growth in Mexico, noted analysts at Invex, an investment firm in Ciudad de Mexico. But there are inflation risks too, which have complicated the picture of Mexico's central bank, known as Banxico. Wow.
Mexico.
What a name. What a name, Mexico. Mexico. If tariffs are prolonged and inflation picks up, Banxico will be more cautious about cutting its rate. While we expect a 50 basis point reduction in March, subsequent cuts would be in doubt, said Ramon de la Rosa, economics deputy director at Actinover. Activer? I don't know. I don't speak Italian. Another local investment firm. Other stories from Reuters Global Economic Poll. That's it. That was it.
I got one thing to say here. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Bitcoin investment hat.
You think it's time to invest in Bitcoin? I don't know,
I'm
man.
not
I was just
implying anything. It's not investment advice. It's just a meme.
I was
Everything's
just
just a
watching
meme.
everything is a meme. I was just watching a little bit of the latest video from Crypto Crew University, and Bitcoin has two phases that it might be seeing. There's a pattern where there's a possibility you'll see a humongous crash, probably worse than the crashes that you've seen recently, after it hits its edge and then it just drops. But there is an anomaly to where, well, maybe it holds, maybe there's but who knows anymore. So but as far as this article goes and what's going on with the tariffs, what the tariff implications, what are your thoughts? Like, where are we sitting at? Like, the toss around between, are we going to tariff Canada or are we not going to tariff Canada? What are we doing in Mexico? I mean, I know one thing in Mexico, and this is a positive, I guess, a net positive. Honda, which makes mostly all of its Civic parts in Mexico, is moving its all of its manufacturing for the Honda Civic to its Honda plant in Greensburg, Indiana. Yay, 812. So that is a net positive because of these tariff implementations that are being threatened. But at the same time, what are we going to see, like with interest rates, potentially? How is that going to affect? What will the Fed, what does the Fed's outlook and their predictability going to be in order to contain? What is the future outlook for this year, if the tariff scenario with Canada and Mexico happens?
Well, I mean, this is part of a bigger picture. Let me go back. There was a video that Tom Woods had on a couple months ago. And it was talking about the two different factions within the banking industry. There's the educational bankers, culture, and then there's the actual stock market culture, and they're at war with each other. This is before the election.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of confluence, which means the rivers merge, right? And everyone's following the same track. And Donald Trump comes in, and he's making a fork in the way that we're doing business as a country, right? So not only is he's drawing other people that are like on our side, like Japan, for example, away
Mm-hmm.
from this river that's been merging since after World War II. It's been slowly building, right, boiling up. Uh, Not only is that, but you're
The river, or you mean the
you're
dam?
with the well, that's what Michael Mouse says. He's the dam, not the river, right?
Mm.
But we've been building towards this super bubble since 2008 because it's obviously not
I
big
would
enough. They want to make it worse, and that's
I would go
Peter Schiff.
further.
Peter
I would
Schiff.
go
Well,
further with the bubble
that's the
building. I mean,
latest.
they burst
The latest.
in 2008, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the latest, release of the pressure. But
Mm.
what I see is he sees what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring everybody into a war because they can't use nukes directly against each other. So they're gonna just make everybody, so desperate that they have to go to war. And he's trying to let the air out by providing an alternative. And so this thing with Canada, right? The president of Canada, president of Mexico, that got elected out just recently. She's the ultra liberal, right? So she's obviously on the educational
Oh,
infrastructure side.
she's not an ultra liberal, dude. She is far from being
That's what.
liberal. She's
Well,
she's a straight
that's
up
what.
fucking Marxist. Like
Well,
she's a
that's what.
socialist.
I'm just going off of what Nomad Capitalist, implied. And then
Yeah,
they just got rid of
understandable.
Trudeau, and
I'm
I
just
guess it's
saying, like what I'm saying is like the she like is a true like through and through socialist.
yeah,
So
and
obviously she has more she has liberal like liberals and conservatives that she has to contend with. So you can't go full on like socialist policies as president of Mexico. So yeah, she probably sways more toward the liberal side at this point because they're more privy towards expanding that socialist bubble um, to enrich themselves, whereas the conservatives are I don't know what they like playing with themselves. But but the president of Mexico is like a staunch like Marxist, like legitimately.
yeah,
Like we joke about Kamala Harris and like Tim Walz there in the election, like they were like no, like Kamala Harris is not a Marxist. Uh, Kamala Harris is just a neoliberal shill establishment piece of trash. Typical. We would have seen the same playbook being played if she would have been elected instead of Trump that we saw under Biden, Obama, Bush, everybody. Uh so not Clinton, surprisingly. That's weird. But like in Mexico, she is a straight like that president is a straight up Marxist.
well,
But go on.
like I was saying, they just elected they have a new prime minister in Canada, right, to replace Justin Trudeau.
Wasn't really
He
elected. He was
oh
appointed.
yeah,
I mean the
yeah,
go
but
yeah.
they're waiting for the next election cycle. But uh,
They are.
they're
What's
they're
kind of scary though, and one little comment on that is, um, will they make it to an election? Because he's this guy, I think, like accordingly, this guy is even more extreme than Justin Trudeau, and there might be a scenario where he actually raises an alarm to uh, executive order a state of emergency that suspends elections for a good lengthy amount of time, sort of like
yeah.
what Zelensky did in Ukraine. That's just my opinion. That's probably what's going to happen in Canada, especially if this tariff thing goes down.
Well, like I said, he just got appointed, elected, whatever you want.
Hmm.
I know what you said. Uh, Donald Trump, I'm going to borrow a line from my great grandma. He who stirs the shit must lick the spoon, right? Donald Trump is stirring the shit between Canada, Mexico, and China. I love my great grandma. She was a wise woman.
Very dangerous.
Anyways, very.
Specifically with China,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
China is
yeah.
ready for war. Like
Yeah.
they will fight to the death economically, and if they have to, they
There
will go militarily.
and this feeds into the cathedral concept that Malice and the other Dark Enlightenment people have been proposing and instigating, right? They're making them pick a side, and it's justifying, if they do decide to go against the United States, well, then all hands are off. That's just my theory. I'm not privy to anything special.
So effectively, what Trump's policies are going forth and constructing could be a battle line draw for the world war. For the next
Plant the
world
seeds
war.
of their destruction if they decide to be stupid. Yeah.
So yeah, so the United States is trying to. So at this point, rather than instigating it directly through indirect means, which we were effectively doing so under Biden, Trump is going a different route and playing an economic protectionist game to say, hey, you're either with us or against us, and he's drawing the lines
The alignments.
effectively. In order to, he's drawing the lines of engagement for a war that is to obviously come.
And
With the United States as the centerpiece, as the mediator.
Russia's, playing the middleman there because they have a history both against and for the United States and with Russia or with China, right? So they could really come in and play and influence, like Iran. And I saw, I'm not sure, I remember the general's name, but there's a big general that's on X, and he was talking about how there's some tension between Israel and Egypt potentially boiling up. So this is just
that McGregor?
Just, I think so, yeah. But this is just in the moment. This is going to be outdated. It's just something I'm speculating on, spitballing about what possibly is happening. So
we're in dangerous waters, and I do like how I think I like how the scenario is being drawn out with Ukraine, with Trump's policies, but at the same time, it's all just riffraff bullshit.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's just at work, because as the Trump administration speaks of peace in Ukraine with Russia and trying to make deals that slow that war, on the other end, they're creating these rifts with their own protectionist policies, as well as funding and helping guide Israel under their spell to go to war potentially with Iran. And you're also seeing all of that expand now, because did you read about the what's going on in Syria? The new regime has murdered
like a bunch
thousands
of
of
Christians.
Yeah. So which to the liking of to the liking of Israel.
It gives them justification for territorial expansion, right?
It does. It gives Israel the justification, because then they can utilize that Judeo-Christian idea of like, we got to go save the Christians.
It's not even so much that, is that people will put pressure on them to do it.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you just hit it right there. Like, Israel and Egypt are having some disputes right now, most certainly over the Suez Canal, as always. That it always goes back to the Suez Canal, because Israel is a British conglomerate. It's a colony. Hate to break it to you, everybody, but it's not the land of the Hebrew. It is a European Zionist, European colony in the Middle East, propelled by Zionist Bolshevikism.
Here's a plot
but-
twist: Turkey goes on our side, and fights on behalf of Europeans. Then they get entry into NATO, or into European Union afterwards. They're already part of NATO.
maybe. Are they?
That's just like I said.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
they
They're
are.
not part of. Are they part of NATO? I don't think they're part of NATO.
I
I'll
believe
have to
they
check
are.
that.
Yeah,
But
don't believe anything
yeah,
I
but
say. This is all just spitballing, but I'm
that's
pretty
yeah.
certain I remember seeing on Nomad Capitals talking about them how they're part of NATO.
Well,
So
that's the thing about
I don't
the
don't take
Third
everything just
World
for one
War.
source. Yeah,
That's the thing about the Third World War and why it would begin in the Middle East, and you're seeing that with how Iraq ended up becoming and being split, and Syria during its civil war, which now it's back in the civil war, CIA, FBI, civil war again. Um, and that moves in for Turkey to try to influence militarily as well, because they themselves are at odds with the Kurds, and the Kurds want to establish their own homeland, which they do not have. They haven't had a homeland. I don't know if they've really ever had a true homeland, because they were historically just nomads. And then you have Israel, you have Iran, you have the Shia Sunni division. I mean, you have Lebanon that's just fractured between Christian, Muslim, and secular. I mean, it is like it's looking back through the lens of the past at the Balkans prior to World War One, and the Middle East is the powder keg.
Turkey has been a member of NATO since
Holy
1952.
shit! The Turkey is. I guess it was just the EU. Then I didn't realize they were a NATO member. That's intriguing. Which is dangerous, because if Article 5 ends up, if somehow they find a way to use Article 5, then that's dangerous, because Turkey will go ham and reconquering their Ottoman dream, minus Israel.
But just remember the Republican rap battle from 2016 on YouTube. They called it first. They said Mexico will be repealed. They're going to make it a prophecy.
I mean, they are. I mean, judging by that, the border situation. I guess border crossings
Are
have
you
dropped
a
significantly.
bordertarian?
No. In fact, I don't agree with arbitrary borders, but I also don't agree with welfare and government. So, but the border situation has kind of escalated in the fact that the Trump effectively repealed with an executive order the Posse Comitatus Act. So you have law enforcement duties being conducted by military personnel up on the border in tandem with Border Patrol, with a task force down there. And I guess it's a good thing if you want to secure, but at the same time, you are really teetering on the edge of like what's going to happen here. I mean, I think Mexico has put they put some soldiers on the border too. They're in alignment with the United States. But what's going to happen when we just invade?
They tried
Because
to tip Mexico to join the German side during World War II.
all goes back to Mexico. But the final question of today, back to the article and on the economic sense, are we teetering towards a recession, or are we already in the recession and the narrative is about ready to finally say we're in a recession?
They're planting the seeds for a recession within the next 2 years, I believe. And time for the
To you,
midterm.
everybody. We've been in a recession.
Well, the media will call it a recession within the time frame of the midterm.
Do we trust the media?
No,
I mean,
but I'm just saying.
They said inflation is transitory.
Yeah. Let's ask Sting.
Inflation.
Sting, are we in a recession yet?
Oh yeah, brother.
There you go.
Ding has answered. So with that, I think we should wrap this up. Um, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this? So what are your thoughts on the geopolitical chaos that's going on in the world today and what is going on with the tariff policies of Donald Trump here in North America, and what does this say for the world? Drop a comment down there on the YouTube, and like, subscribe, and share this, and let's get people to talk about this, like what's going on. So with that, anything else for you to say, Andrew?
Looking forward to the next episode. Thanks for watching, guys.
Peace.